Therapy is not enough, and I am going to tell you exactly why. Hi, my name is Gala Darling, and I'm so excited to talk to you about tapping, which might be something that you've heard about, some crazy thing your friends are doing. And I want to explain it to you because I've been using this technique for almost 18 years now. I know I don't look a day over 21, but I have been using this technique for almost 20 years. And the reason I've done so consistently is that it really works. So tapping is also known as emotional freedom technique, and you might hear people talking about it as EFT tapping. And what we do in tapping is we literally tap on the body using our fingers, and we tap on various energy centers in the body. As we're tapping on these centers, we're talking about what our problem is, like what is really going on in our life. And we're getting to the real nitty-gritty of that situation. And as we tap these points and we talk about the problem, it puts us in a really interesting state in our minds. And there's a lot of effects that this tapping motion has on your brain. It brings the stress response down in the amygdala by like 40%. And what happens when you're doing that is you come out of that place of fight or flight or fawn. And rather than being stressed and full of anxiety and panic, you're suddenly overcome with a sense of peace and calm. And as you feel that peace and calm, you're able to kind of see a way out of this problem that you're in. Rather than the problem being really heavy and really all-consuming, you're in a place where you can start to see solutions, problem solving, and sometimes you can even start to see the humor in the problem. And for me, that's when I know that something has really shifted, when I start to find the problem actually funny. So as we're tapping on these points, you're going to talk about whatever the problem is. And then the real golden ticket of tapping is this line. It's when we say, even though fill in the blank, even though I have this problem, even though I have anxiety, even though I feel like I'm too short, even though I feel like I'm never going to get all of this done, I deeply and completely love and accept and forgive myself. And when you say that, there's something that just lets go in your whole subconscious, and you're put in this place where you really and truly do feel relaxed. And what you're doing when you're saying that is you're affirming that everything's okay. That even though you have this problem, you still love yourself. You are still a worthy human. You are still an acceptable being. You're worthy of love and acceptance and respect. And when you affirm that to yourself, it really changes the whole playing field. And you might have heard about affirmations, and you might do them in the mirror, and they're an amazing place to start, especially if you're on your self-love journey. But it's almost like old technology. When you combine those affirmations with tapping on these various points, you will find that they sink in so much faster. You will find that you're really and truly rewiring your brain for a whole new experience of life. And when you tap on these points, it's like your subconscious is able to immediately accept everything that you're saying. It immediately believes you, and it starts to put into action those things. Because what happens with our lives and the way that we live them is that we have this set of beliefs and thoughts. And whatever you believe is what will inspire the actions that you take. So if you believe that you're not worthy of love, you will go out and take actions that affirm that belief. You will hook up with people that don't care about you. You will stay home every night and not even put yourself on the line for love because you don't believe that you're worthy of it. And our actions then, of course, dictate our results. So you have a shitty belief about love, so you take shitty actions around love, and then you get shitty results around love. But through using tapping, you can rewire yourself. So through tapping, you can say, I really am worthy of love. I'm worthy of a partner that treats me with respect. And with this new belief fully implanted, you can then take new actions and then receive new results. It's really amazing. So enough preamble from me. Let's see what tapping looks like. It's really simple, and I have a million videos on tapping on YouTube, so you can look them up whenever you want to. But all you need to do is tap on the following points. The top of the head, like this. Then the start of the eyebrow, the temples, under the eyes, under the nose, under the mouth, your collarbones, under your armpit where your bra strap would come around, and then your two wrists together. And generally in tapping, we sort of say one sentence per point. So you'll repetitively tap that point as you say the sentence, and then you'll move on to the next one. It's a really simple and easy technique to use. So here are a few things to know about tapping. The first is that it is extremely important to be hydrated. Firstly, being hydrated is really hot and it's good for your skin. But when we're doing tapping, this really is energy work. So you want to be really well hydrated. So make sure you take a nice big guzzle of water before you get started. The second thing to know about tapping is that the most effective tapping happens when you're being really specific about whatever's going on with you. So you don't want to be tapping on the fact that you're tired and your body is sore and you hate your boyfriend today and you don't want to go to work. It's too much. Like, pick a lane, pick one problem, work on that. You'll find it is so much more effective. And the third thing to remember is that you will feel it shift. So you might be wondering, well, how do I know when it's enough? Like, how long should I tap for? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes? Like, what does this look like? It's really up to you. The more specific you are about the problem, the less tapping you'll have to do. It'll be faster. So really narrow in on the issue and ask yourself things like, when I feel this emotion, how does that feel in my body? Does it feel heavy? Does it feel draining? Does it feel nauseating? And ask yourself, does this remind me of something? Like, maybe it reminds you of being at school when you were 5 years old, or maybe it reminds you of your mother and you don't want to be like her. The more detail you can put in the tapping, the better it's going to be and the more effective it's going to be. And the other thing to remember about tapping is that you can really use it on everything. And that's one of the reasons why I love it so much. It's a very multifaceted tool. It's like a Swiss Army knife. So for example, the first time I started tapping, I was deeply cynical about it. I really didn't believe in it. My boyfriend was doing it and I thought it looked and sounded ridiculous, but I decided that I didn't really have anything to lose by giving it a shot, so I tried it. The very first time I tapped was by myself. I didn't watch a video. I just kind of intuitively felt into it. And I tapped on the fact that I always needed to use my asthma inhaler. I had had asthma since I was about 10 years old. And every day when I would walk to work, I would have to walk up a hill to catch a bus. And every morning without fail, I would not be able to catch my breath. Every morning without fail, I would need to use my inhaler, or there was no way I was going to get to the top of the hill. So one night I do this tapping on asthma. I talk about the fact that I've had it since I was 10 years old. I talk about how it makes me feel kind of weak and pathetic and not strong. And I talked about how great it would be to not need it, even though I couldn't imagine what it would look like for me to not need it. So I did that tapping that night. I drank tons of water. I went to sleep. The next morning I woke up and I walked up that hill to catch the bus. And you can only imagine how shocked and stunned I was that I did not need to use my inhaler. And when I got to the top of the hill, without having used my inhaler, I was really overcome by this sense of, if this is something that I think is intrinsic to me, if asthma is something that I have accepted as a part of my identity, like this is just a part of who I am, what else am I telling myself about who I am that maybe isn't even true or doesn't need to be true or is something that can be shifted or adapted or changed? And it really set me on the path of using tapping to overcome really every shortcoming I believed I had. I also used it on my eating disorder. I was really struggling with an eating disorder at the time I discovered tapping. I'd had an eating disorder for about 5 years at that point. And one night I went into the bathroom, I took all my clothes off, I looked myself in the eye in the mirror, And I talked about and tapped about how I felt about my body, the shame I felt, how disgusting I thought I was, the regrets I had about how I looked, and I was crying hysterically. It was a really emotionally intense moment in my life. And I am so glad that I did that. It was really challenging to do because I think for anyone, it's hard to look in the mirror and admit what you think are the most ugly or unattractive things about who you are. But I did that tapping. I maybe tapped for about 20 minutes. And then when I was done, when I had finished bawling my eyes out, I walked back out into the living room and I started to tell my boyfriend about the experience and what had happened. And as I was talking to him, I all of a sudden was hit with this wave of nausea. I ran back to the bathroom and I was violently ill. And this is gonna sound wild, but look, we're talking about tapping, so nothing's off the table. I really believe that that was my body purging the last of this sense of self-hatred and self-disgust. And after I cleaned myself up and went to bed, the next morning I woke up and my boyfriend said, "Do you want me to make you breakfast?" And I said, "Yeah." And I never had a problem with eating again. This it blows my mind every time I tell this story because it sounds so far-fetched. And when I look back at the experience in my mind, it's like watching a movie of somebody else. It's so divorced from who I am now that it's shocking to me and it's hard to reconcile, but that's what happened. And over the years, I've also done a lot of work on body image. So an eating disorder and body image to me were two separate things. And body image was something that I continued to work out through tapping and through going to the gym and through learning to see my body as a really capable vessel rather than just something that was there to be like appraised or to look perfect. And as I've used tapping through my life on eating disorders, depression, asthma, cat allergies, hay fever, limiting beliefs in business, manifesting money, getting into healthy relationships, all of this stuff, attachment style, like you name it, I've used tapping for it. It's unbelievable to me how effective it is. And that's why I teach it. That's why I continue to do it. That's why I'm evangelical about it, because all you need are your hands. And I love that we have the ability to heal ourselves using our hands and our voice. And I'm obsessed with tapping for that reason. So if you check out this channel, there's so many other tapping videos for you to experiment with. And even though tapping may look silly or weird or ridiculous, I'd love for you to just put aside your cynicism for 5 minutes, which is all it will take. Because I know that as soon as you try this technique for yourself, you will really feel the difference. And that's what it's all about. It's all about moving from where you are right now to feeling better about it. And when you feel better about it, when you change your beliefs about something, you take those better actions and you get beautiful results. So thanks for watching. I hope this has inspired you to try tapping, give it a shot. I'll be right there with you, cheering you along. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.